So why would I be exchanging the X-Terra Pro? I'm going to answer that question today. When I first ordered the X-Terra Pro and knew that I wanted to do this and get started, I met a man on the beach who was detecting, and I introduced myself. I didn't even have the detector yet. And we struck up a bit of a friendship. He uses a Deus too, and he's been doing this for years and years and years. He has a lot of experience, and he's been very helpful. After a few hunts with the X-Terra Pro, he said that he thought that my machine was faulty because I just wasn't finding very much compared to him. And I thought, there's no way. You have a Deus too, and you have a lot of experience, and I'm brand new. I'm not one of those nincompoop people who, when I don't get the results I want, blame the equipment. That's not how I operate at all. So I just kept thinking it was user error and I have a lot to learn, and it was my lack of experience that was the problem. Not even a problem. I mean, I certainly found things and I was excited to be out and doing it. Then I got the Simplex. Well, no, let me backtrack a little more. I met a second detectorist, and the first detectorist, the second detectorist that I met, and I were all in the same area detecting one day on their invitation that I joined them at their favorite spot. And it was very frustrating for me. It was frustrating for a couple of reasons. One, they both had different ideas about what I should be doing in my settings. So I was having two of them independently tell me, no, do this, no, do that, set this to this, set this to that. And but I wasn't finding very much at all. I do believe, no, I don't even remember if I made a video of that hunt. I might not have. It might have been that fruitless. So it was a challenging day on a lot of levels. But it was two detectorists saying you should be finding more. You should be finding more. They both use a Deus too. So I thought, well, I mean, you guys are using a $1,600 machine and I've got a $270 machine. There is a difference there. Then on another hunt, I was in the hotel zone here and I ran into a guy who works at a hotel who also has an X-Terra Pro. And I was still fairly new and we chatted for a few minutes. He was out on the beach. And I said, would you mind? I said, do you have a second to check my settings? I don't want to get you in trouble. I know you're working, but if you have a minute, I would appreciate if you could just run through the settings and see if they're comparable to how you have yours set up. So he ran through it and he said, yeah, it all looks good. Everything's fine. Pretty much what I do. And then he took a break and he asked if he could use the detector for 15 minutes. And I was like, yeah, great. Have at it. So I just sat on the beach and he went off for a few minutes and came back. And he said, oh, thanks. And I said, well, what do you think? He's like, oh, it's fine. But he had a look in his face that made me question that. And as a culture, Mexicans are very polite in what this culture deems as polite behavior. They're not always synonymous with what the US or Canadians consider polite behavior. But one thing about this culture is that they hate to be a bearer of bad news. It's considered very impolite to share bad news. For example, if you're invited to a party, you always say, yes, I'm going to be there, even if you have no intention of going. It's very rude to say, no, thank you, I'm not going to go. Very, very rude behavior. If you ask directions from someone and they have no idea where you're asking to go is, they will never say, I don't know. They'll just give you random directions because it's considered very rude to say, I don't know, or I can't help you. So there are some differences culturally there. So I could tell by the look on his face that something was off and he just wasn't telling me because he didn't know me at all. And it would have been very rude for him to say, something's wrong with your detector. But it stuck in my mind. And I thought I was having decent luck with the X-Terra Pro. So I just thought, well, it's me. It's me. I'm just not listening to it very well. But I have dug everything, everything. I have dug so many holes. And after 20-ish hunts, each of which lasts 3 to 6 hours, I feel like I'm now a little bit qualified to have an opinion about it. I wasn't in the beginning. It wasn't my place. So then I got the Simplex, and I did my first hunt with the Simplex yesterday morning, and it was unbelievable. To say it was a great hunt is an understatement. And that video will be coming out in the next few days. It was a great hunt, and it was so easy. And when I say easy, that doesn't mean that there wasn't some discernment or that I didn't dig a few empty holes or that I didn't dig trash. I don't mean any of that. I just mean that the whole experience was so smooth and friendly. It was totally different than my experience with the X-Terra Pro. And that was the final step for me. I thought, there's something wrong here. There's just something wrong. So thankfully, I am still in the return window with Amazon. So I'm going to send the X-Terra Pro back, and I'm going to get a replacement for it for a couple of reasons. One, I generally like the machine. Two, I've ordered the V8X coil for it, and it's my understanding that I cannot use that coil with any other detector except the X-Terra Pro. So I want to give it another shot because I do believe it's a good machine. I no longer believe that it's all user error, that I've been finding maybe a third or even a quarter of what the other detectorists are finding. What, given that they use a day as two, and they probably hunt for more hours because they work and they only have one day a week where they can really hunt, and I have a little more flexibility. But I still think it's no longer my fault that I'm not finding even half or even a third of what they're finding. So that's the story. So I really did want to do a comparison video between the Simplex Lite and the X-Terra Pro, but I'm going to have to wait on that because I don't have the budget to buy another X-Terra Pro until I get refunded for the one that I'm sending back. So it'll probably take a week to 10 days for that to get processed. And then I need to order the other X-Terra Pro, have that sent. And then because I can only get my mail once a week because it's in the city, I need to wait until I'm in the city, then bring it back. And in some ways, there are some pros to that because it's going to give me a few more hunts with the Simplex Lite so that I'll be able to compare both of them with some more experience rather than comparing the X-Terra Pro, with which I have, I don't know, 60 to 100 hours of experience, versus the Simplex Lite, where I've only got one hunt. So I think it'll work out well that I have a little more time with the Simplex Lite before I do this comparison video. So that's the scoop, and I will keep you guys updated. All right. Catch you next time. Thank you.